Hi guys, this is a video tutorial of number 29 from your homework. I have out my graphic organizer because this helps so much, and I'm going to be walking you through the problem. So 29 talks about bullying. They took a sample of 558 kiddos at a middle school, and 445 of those students said their behavior included physical aggression, social ridicule, teasing, name-calling, and issues or threats. This behavior was not identified as bullying in the questionnaire. Is this evidence that more than 3/4 of students that are in middle school engage in bullying? Carry out a significance test to answer the question, okay? So, significance test. I am going to do my 4-step process here. Sig test. First, let's just wrap our head around the problem here. In my sample, there were 445 kids out of 558 who claimed that they had done some bullying. So that's about 80%. That's a pretty high percent. This is saying 3/4 of students beforehand admitted to bullying. So in my sample, it's a lot higher than 3/4. It's a lot higher than 75%. So actually, my evidence, my data from my sample says I think it's actually higher than 75%. So let's see if we can take this data as evidence and prove something. That's the idea behind this. Step 1 is writing a hoe and a haw, writing some hypotheses. So step 1 is the hoe. P equals the haw. P something other, and then we say where P is equal to the true proportion of whatever the context is, whatever. Okay, the hoe is the claim that we're trying to disprove. It's always equal to. What is the claim here? And the claim here in the problem is that 75% or 3/4 engage in bullying. So the claim is 75%. My data says it's greater than 75%. Greater than 75%. Is there evidence? Is there evidence to support that more than 3/4? So there's my more than 3/4 have engaged in bullying. So where P is equal to the true proportion of middle school students who've engaged in bullying. That's step 1. Step 2, there's my hypotheses. So I've laid out what I want to prove very nicely. Oops, that's 3. Step 2 is find the mean, standard deviation, and draw a curve. So the mean is P, it's the proportion from the hoe. Okay, I'm just gonna move this over. P, the mean, is the proportion from the hoe. So P is equal to 0.75. The standard deviation is square root of P, so 0.75 times 1 minus 0.75 divided by n. That comes from my sample. In my sample, there were 558 students in the sample. My sample size. Plug this into my calculator, and I get 0.0183. There's my mean and my standard deviation. P hat comes from our sample, just FYI. I'll put this up here. P hat is equal to what happened in my sample. I had 445 out of 558. When I divided those two numbers, I get 0.7975. Now we need to draw our curve and label. There's my curve. Put my mean in the middle. And then I'm going to add and subtract some standard deviations. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So mean in the middle, P, that's 0.75. And I'm going to take that 0.75, oops, 0.75 plus the standard deviation, which is 0.183. And I get 76.83 plus 0.183. I get 78.66. Add it one more time. I get 0.8049. On this end, I'm gonna subtract the 0.183, subtract standard deviations. I get 0.7317, 0.7134, and 0.6951. There's my curve. It's all nice and labeled and pretty, isn't it pretty? Now I need to shade it. I need to shade it with P hat. So let's take a look at our HAW, because this is saying what does my HAW look like. My HAW says P is greater than. So P is greater than, P is greater than. We're going to shade to the right. See a little arrow pointing to the right? P is greater than. So the HAW says that P is greater than. So I'm going to take my highlighter and I'm going to highlight the greater than. Okay, I'm going to highlight at the P hat. So my P hat is up here. P hat is about 79, 75 right there, my P hat. So I'm going to go to my normal curve and I'm going to find 79, 75. Whoa, looks like it's way over here, right? Whoa, kind of hard to see. A little less than 0.8. Then I'm going to shade to the right because that's what this says to do. Mark at P hat and then shade to the right. Okay. That's where we're at. Okay. So that was step 2. Now we're going to move on to step 3. We're going to get a z-score and go to table A to get our p-value. We're going to find the probability of that happening. What is the probability of this happening in real life? That's what we're finding. So step 3, get a z-score. I've got z is equal to p hat minus p divided by standard deviation. So p hat for this problem is right here. P hat 79.75 minus p. P comes from the HAW. P is 0.75 divided by standard deviation in the formula. Standard deviation is 0.183. Work that out, you get 2.59. Okay, what's next? Go to table 8 and find a probability, oops, I'm sorry, or a p-value. 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 So, oh my goodness, I'm sorry. My p hat is shaded to the right. Looks like this one right here. So I'm going to do 1 minus the area in table A. So I'm going to do 1 minus the area that I find in table A. So I'm going to take the z-score, 2.59. Here's my textbook. I'm going to flip to the very back of the book. I'm going to flip to table A. We've got 2.59. So here's my table A. Here's 2.5. Next digit is 9. I'm going to swing all the way out to 9. So 2.5, swing all the way out to 9. I get 99.52. 99.52. 99.52. Now you see how we did not just shade in 99% of the curve? We shaded in more like 1% of the curve. That's why I make you draw your curve. 1 minus 0.9952. This is our p-value. And this is the probability of our sample happening in real life, given that the HAW is true. That's our p-value. All right, almost done. Make a conclusion. My p-value is pretty small. It's 0.004. 0.004. So that's what comes next. We're going to compare our p-value with our alpha. Is it less than 5% or is it greater than 5%? Since my p-value equals 0.0048. That's definitely less than alpha, right? Definitely less than alpha. We reject the HO. And we have convincing evidence of the HA. And we have convincing evidence of the HA of what we are trying to prove. So the HA is here. It's that P is greater than 0.75. So let's just put that HA in context. We have convincing evidence of the HA that the true proportion of middle school students who have engaged in bullying is greater than 0.75. And that's how you do a significance test. We proved it. My sample provided enough evidence to prove what we wanted to prove. There you guys go. There's number 29.